In this tutorial, I will show you how to create and edit reminder types. Once you have logged into your account, go to the navigation menu and then select Reminder Settings, then General Reminder Settings, then Reminder Types. What is a reminder type? A reminder type is a tailored reminder that you create. It will be either a text, phone call, or email reminder, and the content will consist of a series of messages that you will choose. You can also think of it as a template which you will fill with other information such as customer name, appointment date, and time, and more when you send your reminder. You can add as many reminder types as you want. There is no limit and no charge for additional reminder types. You may choose to keep it simple and just have 2 or 3 reminder types, one for each outreach method, call, text, and email. This is a basic setup. However, you may also choose to add additional reminder types to tailor your reminder messages even further. When you create your company, we will automatically add some reminder types based on your selections. However, you can always add more or edit or delete these reminder types. Reminder Type Settings. In the Reminder Type Settings page, you can change things like outreach type, when to send out your reminder in relation to the appointment date, whether to expect feedback, and more. I am going to click on the Settings button for my text reminder titled Demo Text Message. The reminder type description is the name I chose to call this reminder type. The outreach type is whether it will be a call, text, or email. You can select the language as well. If you select Spanish, all dynamic info such as date, time, days of the week, etc. will be read in Spanish. Set as default reminder. Check this box if you want this reminder type to be your default when scheduling through files or linked calendars. If you'll be scheduling reminders through the website portal, the default doesn't matter. Now let's take a look at the acceptable time frame for when we can send this reminder. This reminder type is scheduled to go out before the appointment date only. This is selected by default and is the most common setting for most reminders. Since it will only go out before the appointment date, the next step is to choose how far in advance of the appointment date to send it. This reminder type will be sent between 3 days prior to the appointment and the day before the appointment. You can think of it this way. If the appointment is scheduled prior to 3 days before the appointment date, then we will hold the reminder in queue until 3 days prior to the appointment date, and then we will send it out. However, let's say you scheduled the appointment the day before the appointment date. We will still send it out because it is still within the time frame of 3 to 1 days prior to the appointment. You can also set reminder types to be sent on the appointment date itself. If you chose this option, you can also select how many hours prior to the appointment time to send it. If you select 0, it will be sent at the appointment time. The third option is to send the reminder after the appointment date. This is usually used to send a follow-up message after the appointment. An example would be to send a link to a How Did We Do type reminder with a link to a survey several days after the appointment. The Expect Response to Question checkbox is checked, indicating that we are expecting a response to this reminder type. The next 3 fields show the allowable responses: confirm, cancel, and reschedule. These can be anything you want. They do not have to be confirm, cancel, or reschedule. Also, we can choose to just have 1 or 2 expected responses or not expect responses at all. If this is a call type reminder, you can also choose a caller ID to be associated with this reminder type or just leave it as default. This will send the call from your verified caller ID. Emails will also use a caller ID. It will be added at the bottom of the email. For text messages, the caller ID is not used because the text message will generate from an internal long or short code. I am going to press the Cancel button to go back to the main reminder type screen. Reminder Type Content. The Reminder Type Content page contains the actual message that will be sent or played to the customer. It also defines any follow-up messages after the customer responds to the reminder. To get to the Content page, I'll click the Content button for that same reminder type. Now we can look at the content of this reminder type. Reminder types are built in a series of steps or rows. As you can see, this reminder type has about 10 rows. Let's go through some of them. Keep in mind that this is a text message reminder type, so some of the options are specific for text messages. Looking at the first row, the Message Area column has Message Content selected. This means that this row will be added to the outbound text message content of your reminder. For message type, we have text block. This means that we will add a text block. Text blocks can be added or edited on the text blocks page. Text blocks can be used in call, text, or email reminders. The File Selected column shows which text block we are going to use, and the File Text Content column shows us the contents of that text block. The next row is also going to be part of the outbound text message. That's why, again, we have message content chosen for message area. However, this time, instead of using a text block, we are going to use a dynamic field. A dynamic field is something that we add into the reminder type when we send it. These are things like names, appointment date and time, custom fields, and more. As you can see, this dynamic field is sending the appointment date. The next row is simply adding another text block which says @. The next row then adds another dynamic field of the appointment time. The next row simply adds a period. Then we add another row asking the person to reply 1 to confirm or 2 to cancel. The next row will define what we will text back if the person replies with a 1. As you can see, for message area, we have chosen response to 1. This just means that if the person sends the first reply that we expect from the settings page, we send this text back to them. It does not necessarily need to be a 1. For example, going back to the settings page for a second, if I put a C in the text response 1 instead of a 1, we would still use the response to 1 setting to send back the reply. I know it sounds confusing, but it allows for much greater flexibility when setting up your reminders. The last line is a response to 2, meaning if the person sends us the second response from the settings page, we will send this message. Again, this does not necessarily need to be a 2. It can be the word cancel, for example. Email reminder types are essentially the same as text reminders with the exception that the description/name will also be the email subject. Call reminder types have a few additional options. If I click on the Content button for my call reminder type, it takes us back to the Content area. For the first row, the message area is person or machine. This indicates that this message will be played regardless of whether a person or an answering machine answers the call. Other options are person only, which means we will only play this if a person answers the phone. Also, machine only, which means we will only play it if the call is answered by an answering machine or voicemail. The message type is stock voice file. This means that we are selecting a voice file from our stock in-house library. The next column indicates the file selected. In this case, hello.wav. The last column shows the text for that voice file. In this case, hello. You can also select custom voice files, which are voice files that are added and recorded by you. To create these, you can go to the voice files page. The next row will also be played for a person or a machine. However, here we are playing a dynamic field. The dynamic field we are playing is the customer's first name. The next row is identical with the customer's last name being played. These dynamic fields are pulled from the customer's information. The next 2 rows play a couple more stock voice files. Then we pull in another dynamic field called company name. Adding this field will play your company name. Then we play another stock voice file called on.wave. Then we play the customer's appointment date followed by another stock voice file and then the appointment time. Now the next row, as you can see, has person only selected for message area. That is because we only want to play this file if a person answers because we are prompting for a response. The next 3 rows tell the system what to play if a machine answers. As you can see, if a machine answers, we are just telling them to call into the company phone number if they need to cancel or reschedule this appointment. The last row will play a voice file in response to a customer pressing a button on the phone. If 1 is pressed, we will play confirmed.wave. Testing a reminder type. To test a reminder type, go back to the main reminder type screen and then press the Test button for the reminder type you want to test. This takes you to a screen where you can send a sample to your phone number or email. Cloning a reminder type. Sometimes it's easier to start with a reminder type that you have already created. To do this, simply press the Clone button for the reminder type that you want to clone. This will create a new reminder type with exactly the same settings. You can now edit the settings or content of this reminder type. Creating a new reminder type. To create a new reminder type, click on Create a New Reminder Type from the main Reminder Type screen. This takes you to a page that is very similar to the Edit Settings screen with the addition of selecting some basic content settings. Please see the Editing a Reminder Type for a description of all of these settings. In the Content Settings area, choose the settings that are most appropriate for your new reminder type. You can choose things like include the person's name or include your address. You can also choose to send a window instead of an appointment time like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Also, you can choose some basic responses like if you want to allow your customer to confirm, cancel, or reschedule the appointment. In the preview window, you can see a preview of what your reminder type will look like. Just choose the closest template to what you want and press Submit. Then, once your reminder type is created, you can customize it further by going into the settings and content as we discussed earlier. Congratulations! You can now edit and create reminder types.